Hi there, this is a piece of audio content that is only available in full over at patreon.com/ElwoodCityLimits. We wanted to give you a little bit of a preview to show you what you might be missing out on. You can join us for as little as $1 under the pay what you want model at patreon.com/ElwoodCityLimits and get access to over dozens of hours of content, including every episode of For the Kids, a PBS Kids podcast. We appreciate you listening, whether you're a patron or whether you're listening on the free feed. You're under no obligation to join, and thank you very much for checking out this preview. But if you'd like to know what these episodes and extra content sounds like, here's a little bit of a sneak peek. Let's take a look at the cast here. Now, there's a couple people in here that didn't actually go on to do very much outside of GhostWriter. For example, the lead character, Jamal, played by Sheldon Turnipseed. This is his biggest role to date. We have other actors like Tram On Tran as Tina and Todd Alexander Cohen as Rob, who this is their only credit. And Maytiana Morales, who plays Gabby in the episode that we saw, was on the show from 1992 to 1994, and her part was later recast in the final season. Now, a couple of these other ones, we have Blaise Berdal as Lenny on the show, who played the little girl Ellie Creed in one of my favorite horror movies, Pet Sematary.
But that's not the only kind of star of stage and screen, right? It only goes up from there.
Yeah, I'm leading up to it. Yeah, of course. Lucas, I know what you're talking about. David Lopez as Alex, otherwise known as Tracker from Paw Patrol. Come on.
That is, of course. You know, for all our listeners who have kids, they're like, oh, of course, Tracker.
And we also have a Cosby Show veteran on this show as Grandma Jenkins, Marcella Lowry. She also had quite a few television and film credits to her name. And then, it's, Mr. Jenkins in the show. Hang on, what's his name? Right. Samuel L. Jackson just shows up. Did you see this coming before you watched it?
No. I did not see this coming. And Samuel L. Jackson continues to be very famous and a box office draw to this day. But early 90s Samuel L. Jackson, actually, I was looking at this is a year before True Romance, a year before Menace to Society. This is the same year as Patriot Games and Juice. And this is 2 years before Pulp Fiction. Yeah, it's crazy. Looking at this Wikipedia article, did you know that Samuel Jackson is the highest grossing actor of all time?
I actually did know that. I think it was he got his honorary Oscar this year, I think, didn't he?
I don't know. There was some other stuff that happened at the Oscars, so that must have slipped my mind.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, the highest grossing actor of all time, star of stage and screen, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
Lends his talents to GhostWriter. Now, this is one of those things where I was thinking about when we were watching Liberty's Kids, and they had such big name actors for such a kind of innocuous, like, not very popular show. And I was like, how do they get these actors? Is it some sort of charity thing? Is it like, I want to do like a kids television? Like, I can't wrap my mind around it. And yeah, Samuel L., like, how do they get them for GhostWriter in the 90s?
I think it's just, I made a note about this earlier, and it was from when he shows up in the show, and it's just like immediately his presence and charisma is such that it's like, well, there's only one person that can be, And it's hard to imagine or remember a time when he wasn't the biggest movie star in the world. Like, I'm just looking at his filmography around then. Like, he was still on the come up a little bit in the early 90s. He probably would have filmed this if this debuted in 92. He was probably filming this in like 91. So he's just starting to hit. He's not in Jurassic Park yet.
Yeah.
He's just about to do like Juice. He's starting to get notoriety after sort of just sticking things out in the 1980s. So it was right after this, like you said, 93, True Romance, and then after that, Pulp Fiction was when he really started to hit. So I don't think they could keep him for very long. I don't think he's a permanent fixture on the show. He's a guest star, but still, like, wild. It's like knowing that Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Curtis on the Pee-wee show.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Do the Right Thing was 89, but also, I don't know if, Samuel L. Jackson is famous to Do the Right Thing in retrospect, right? Like, was he just, oh, that's that radio guy, or was he like, oh, there's Samuel L. Jackson? Like, I wasn't around in 1989, so I don't know how much cultural cachet he held at that time. So yeah, this must have been as he was on the come up, as Samuel L. Jackson was probably just like a character actor at this time.
Mm-hmm. And in Do the Right Thing, it's kind of a thankless role. It's not really a character. It's more of just like almost the Greek chorus of that movie. So, he's very like charismatic and entertaining in the movie, but it's not like a star-making role necessarily.
True.
So it was you're right. It was a lot to kind of negotiate with. Okay, that's going to do it for now, but we will see you next time on Elwood City Limits or at patreon.com/ElwoodCityLimits if you decide to join us. Thank you very much and have a great week.